Look, up next, a guy I've been wanting to talk to for a while about infrastructure and water and all things. Why? Because I think he's in quite a unique position to see all the issues from quite a number of perspectives. He was the mayor of Porirua for a long time. Porirua, of course, in the Wellington region, which has more problems, it would seem, with water and infrastructure than anywhere else, and the issues with the rates there. He's been the head of basically the transport lobby group, the truckers lobby group as well, Transport New Zealand. So he sees things from that perspective, and he's politically aware and astute, and he's in Wellington, and he knows what's shaking and going down. Currently the head of Infrastructure New Zealand, which is what we're talking about. We are joined now by Nick Leggett. Nick, lovely to have you back with us, mate.
How are you, Sean?
Very well, thank you.
Well, the other thing that you missed out there, for my sins, I'm also currently the chair of Wellington Water.
Yeah, that's right. So, sorry. I thought it'd be best we didn't mention that. Hey, thanks for fixing the fire hydrant outside the platform office in Manor Street.
Oh, excellent. Oh, very good. I'm pleased to hear that.
But can I just say, round at my place at Evans Bay Parade, there's something's popped there too. So you
let the council of Wellington Water know, and that'll be put on the list, Sean.
Okay, let's get the nasty stuff out the way first. That leak outside the office here in Manor Street, in the middle of the city, had been going for more than 14 months. I ring up and make a song and dance about it and put it on social media, and it's fixed within 2 weeks. No. Was that happy coincidence?
I couldn't say, but I think public pressure is really important in this discussion because, for decades, the assets of the Wellington region have not had the money spent on them that they should. There was a lack of awareness by all parties, those elected to councils, those, I think, even responsible for giving advice on three water assets, and of course the public. And now what we've got is a real focus on them, and we need to ensure that focus stays there, because the fix is not just a few $1 million to fix a backlog of leaks. The leaks are one visible symptom that we're all now aware of because of increased media attention and general community understanding.
Well, it's not media attention, Nick. The streets of Wellington are awash with water. It's like friggin' Venice.
That's right.
Look,
and we want to fix it.
I want to go back. Well, when were the big quakes? 2016, right?
Yeah.
You were the mayor of Porirua then or not?
No, it was just after I finished.
Just after you finished, okay. We have those massive earthquakes in 2016. And while no one died, so it didn't get the headlines of Christchurch, they were significant earthquakes. And my understanding is from people in the know that while our infrastructure at the age it wasn't bad underneath the ground, that series of earthquakes had a profound impact on the life cycle of those underground assets. And that, in fact, had this been the same scenario as Christchurch, central government would have paid for a fix. And Fran Sullivan did an excellent article, I think, Friday in the Herald saying, why did no one ask back in 2016 when it was apparent the damage that had been done by those earthquakes? Why didn't we go to central government and say, tip in a couple of billion like you did for Christchurch?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I would say to you that if we'd done a better job collectively over a couple of decades at maintaining the assets, they wouldn't have been impacted as they were by the earthquake. I think there's an argument to be made there. And everything's great in hindsight, but this takes us back to this issue. Wellington is a region of several different councils. It's quite hard at times to get it focused on what the really important issues are. And that's the benefit of local government, and that people are thinking about their local community. But in a regional sense, we know that these things are all connected, that the water all comes from one place. and that we have to treat wastewater across local government boundaries. And Wellington Water was a compromise about 10 years ago, where the councils decided to put the water services together, but the decision making for those services and the assets was still kept within the councils. And so we haven't got to sort of probably the ideal situation yet, but what we know is that water reform is going to give Wellington another chance to sort of think about it.
Okay, so here's the $64,000 question. From what you have seen and what Minister Simeon Brown outlined last week, will Water Done Well provide a structure that does offer the hope of remediation and ongoing decent maintenance? Will it, in the medium, long term, solve the problem? And the argument, of course, being, for those who haven't heard it, that councils like those in the Wellington region would get together, create essentially a new Wellington Water, ring-fence the assets and be able to raise funds, borrow against the assets it has for future, therefore making it easier, without putting up the rates too much, to finance the work that needs to be done.
Yep, I think it's a pretty good summation of what's possible. And yes, I think that from everything that I've seen so far, and bearing in mind we don't have the legislation, but I think it offers that opportunity to Wellington and other parts of the country to improve these services and to better fund them. This is going to take years, Sean, and billions of dollars, and frankly, that the cost of that will be borne by communities. But we don't have the setup now to probably do that as well as we could, because it's very hard for councils to make decisions and put up the rates. What we've also got to do for Wellington is, and this is the advice coming from Wellington Water, and I think the councils are going to consult on their long-term plan this year, that we've got to meter water. We've actually got to value that it's not an infinite resource, and we've got to sort of, as consumers, understand that and work to conserve it. And the best way to do that is to charge a little bit for the amount that households
hang on,
use.
Nick, I'm going to give you the counterfacts on this. So the water meters would allow you to charge people for the consumption of water. Most of the leaks that are occurring are not happening inside people's boundaries or inside their homes. They're happening in public spaces. So why not fix the leaks first before you decide how to extract more money out of the poor old Joe Blow?
Yeah, look, it's about doing both. But the thing about volumetric charging, it allows you to draw a revenue that you can then apply to fixing leaks. So you mentioned about the poor old ratepayer who does get hammered a lot. This is means that an element of the money that is required to service and fix the infrastructure comes from a charge for use. And that's a clearer way of doing things. We do it for electricity, obviously. And critically, the Kapiti Coast is the example here, Sean. They save 25% of their water consumption in the first year to 18 months of having water meters, because people were conscious and it told everybody where the leaks were.